Right Network. Mobilizing, countering the left, energizing the right. New Right Network, home of the New Right movement.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to New Right Network's original series, SmythTV. Your host, Brian Smith, giving you all the breaking news of the day, wrapping it all up, making sense of it, exposing the fake news, and giving you the real news. A lot of this news comes from social media, so if you're not on social media, this would be a great time to get caught up on information that you probably have never heard of before, because MSNBC, CBS, ABC, CNN, they're not reporting on this stuff. There's real articles of real news out there, and we dig into it and we find it for you. Airing Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. Crush the like, crush the share. If you're on the YouTubes, hit the subscribe and hit the little bells for notifications. On Facebook, share this with your Facebook groups. If you're on Facebook watching this, hit the share button and then hit groups. And then you can scroll down to all your Trump groups, all your Patriot groups, all your America First groups. Share this show with those groups so they have an opportunity to catch up on real news. And today I'm actually going to touch on something today that I know it's a little bit of a different type of article that came out. It's breaking news today. It has to do with a woman named Sandra Bland from 2015 arrest. I'm going to talk about that, and I don't know if I normally would bring this up, but I started reading the article and I got so incensed and so enraged the more and more that I got into the article. So I'm going to talk about that. Open up the show. We're going to talk about that. But I want to give you my opinion on it, but also detail the real news about this article. We got a lot of MAGA news out there, and Brandon Struck making some news out in Hollywood. Good for him. Big tech over the night, silencing people on social media because of their opinion, and Spygate. Spygate kind of spiraling out of control. Democrats desperately holding on to what they think they have left. I don't. It's become pure insanity. Anyone who believes in any kind of collusion with Russia and Trump is absolutely crazy if they believe it. If they're saying it just to gaslight people and to lie to people, okay, well, you're still crazy. Don't stop doing it. It ain't there, because we know it's not there. And there's a lot of information out that's coming out right now. Elizabeth Warren takes to the Senate floor. Impeach. Oh, man, it ain't going to happen. Someone was saying yesterday the only way to beat Donald Trump in 2020 is impeachment. Yeah, that's probably the only way you're going to beat Donald Trump, 2020 Democrats, is impeachment, because you cannot win in the realm of ideas. No new ideas coming out for the Democrats. And now we've got Bernie Sanders and Ocasio-Cortez still pushing the notion of socialism, when we see it on full display in Venezuela, destroying everything it touches. Socialism destroying everything it touches. We'll touch on Joe Biden. Ain't looking too good, Joe. Oh, poor Joe. They ain't looking good, man. Not at all. And so let's get into it real quick. Again, if this is the first time you've been on the show, crush the like, crush the share. I'm on Twitter at Brian P. Smith, and our show at Smith Television on Twitter. Apparently, SmythTV is a pretty popular thing coming out of Ireland. SMYTH is yeah. Anyways, it's all good, folks. So at Smith Television and Smith.TV. And again, this brought to you by New Right Network. Check out newrightnetwork.com. A lot of great writers, some articles. I've got an article today in here by New Right Network from Garrett Smith. How history supports Trump decreasing big government. Yes, smaller government's better, bigger government's no good. And we'll talk about that article as well. So just to start to show off, Sandra Bland, 2015, Sandra Bland was pulled over in Texas. She's from Chicago, and she was pulled over in Texas. The arresting officer, and now it looks like, okay, we're going back through history, and now we're seeing all the evidence come out. Apparently, the arresting officer, and I hate to throw this out there, but I know people are going to already make this a racist issue. And so I'm just throwing it out there. I don't believe there's race involved. Don't take it racist. The officer was white. The female, Sandra, was black. Okay? Get that out of the way. I do not believe, unless the individual guy, the police officer, that guy, unless he is a known racist and screaming racial things, then he, the individual, is racist against an individual, a woman, Sandra Black. But I don't want this to be, and I can see the media running with this as a racial story. This is racist. So with that being said, just push that aside. But the fact does remain that she was black, he was white. So there was evidence withheld about the incident that we now know that the police officer lied about. The police officer agreed to quit his job, give up his license in order to walk away from the whole thing. Here's the problem. There's a bit of injustice. Back in 2015, Sandra was pulled over for what seemed to be changing lanes without a turn signal. Now, a lot of times I use my turn signal. I've never been pulled over for it, but apparently you can be pulled over for it. I know in Mayberry and Barney Fife, you get pulled over for broken taillight, or at least it's broken now. I don't know. Anyways. So she gets pulled over, and apparently she's being, what seems like being harassed by the cop. And now we know video footage released that was hidden, which is so awful by this law enforcement agency. So awful that now new evidence has come to light that the police officers had her cell phone and the video that she took of her cell phone, and it was never presented as evidence. This is beyond egregious. It is just so awful, because what had transpired is that she clearly was being forced out of her vehicle, violating her Fourth Amendment right to search and seizure, violating her rights, and subsequently she was jailed and 3 days later found in the jail cell, hung. Her family said she wouldn't hung herself. Her family said that she wasn't suicidal, wasn't anything like that, but that's what's happened. So now we're going back through the evidence, because of this breaking news and this breaking video. And here, I'll share you the video that is breaking that we just now found, has been released. And this by dailynews.com. For years, the only footage was believed to exist from the cruiser's dash cam. The new 39-second cell phone video, which was in the hands of the state prosecutors all these years, for the last 3.5 years, was obtained by ABC affiliate WFAA and the investigative network.
Get out of the car now!
Why am I being apprehended? You trying to give me a ticket for your failure?
Get out of the car.
Why am I being apprehended? You just opened my car door. You just opened my car door. So you threatening to drag me out of my own car.
Get out of the car!
And then you
I
gonna
will
stun
light
me?
you up. Get out!
Wow.
Now!
Wow.
Now he's screaming at her, for audio only, screaming at her, and he's pointing what I thought was a gun at first, but when you look closer, it's a taser gun. He's pointing at her, screaming at her.
Get out of the car!
Really, for a failure to signal. You doing all of this for a failure
Get
to
over
signal.
there!
Right, yeah. Yeah, let's take this to court. Let's do
Go
it.
ahead.
For a failure to signal. Yep, for a failure to signal.
Get off the phone.
On my school.
Get off the phone.
I'm not on the phone. I have a right to
Put your
record. This
phone
is my
down.
property. This
Put
is
your
my
phone
property.
down.
Sir?
Put your phone down right now.
And now this video here shows the lawyer for Sandra Bland, who filed a lawsuit against the police department and won a settlement of $2 million. The family did, for the wrongful death of her. This is the video of him, the lawyer, sitting there and watching the video himself for the very first time.
Where'd you get that?
Have you ever seen that video?
I've never seen that.
Chicago attorney Cannon Lambert represented the Bland family in its federal civil rights lawsuit.
You've never seen this video.
I've
It
never
was
seen
never
that.
turned over to you.
I've never seen that. It wasn't on anything we had. How is this possible?
What do you think?
Where
when
did you
see
get that?
The Department of Public
That's
Safety.
her cell phone.
Texas DPS, Texas Rangers, the Attorney General's office had this video during their investigation. Did they turn it over to you?
If they had turned it over, I would have seen it, Brian. I've not seen that. That video shows he's not in fear of his safety, and she's not reaching for anything. It's already in her hand, and she's recording him. That's what that video shows. The video that's why I'm in disbelief at what I'm seeing. The video is showing her recording him. He sees exactly what's in her hand. How can you tell me you don't know what's in her hand when you're looking right dead at it? What did she do that put him in jeopardy? What did she do that made him feel like his safety was in jeopardy? Nothing. We can see it. We can see it now.
Neither DPS Director Steve McCraw or Attorney General Ken Paxton, whose office defended DPS in court, responded to our repeated attempts for an interview to ask if they intentionally withheld Bland's video in the civil lawsuit. 9 months after the suit was settled, prosecutors dropped the perjury charge against Insinia in return for him giving up his law enforcement license. Even though the Bland family insists special prosecutors promised them they'd try Insinia's case in front of a jury.
Wait, are you telling me that the special prosecutors had access to this and then they still decided not to prosecute him? Wow.
In fact, prosecutors did have this video. The investigative network has confirmed that. But because grand jury proceedings are secret, we'll probably never know if they showed it to the grand jurors in Waller County. For the Bland family, this new revelation leaves their biggest question: who will be held accountable?
Someone's got to pay for this. The prosecuting attorney should be fired and prosecuted himself for this. This is so outrageous that these individuals, the prosecuting attorney, the DA's office, that they feel that they can go ahead and sleight of hand, just pass it on by, and nobody will ever know. Yeah, she accidentally died in our custody 3 days after the arrest. Yeah, I know she's dead now, and just go ahead and pay out $2 million and would be okay. No, that's $2 million of taxpayer money. The officers involved, every one of them involved, should be brought up on charges. This is not how our system works. This is just out of control. I was not in for the body cams of officers. They're expensive. I think that's a lot of money unspent. After seeing this, I am 100% convinced. Spend the damn money. Body cams for everybody. Not only body cams for everybody, but all those body cams controlled and taken care of by a third party, an outside party, something or taken care of where the police officers, the DA, the prosecuting attorney, they don't have any control over whether it is a part of the court case or not. That it will absolutely be part of the court case. That it will absolutely be brought up. Body cams for everybody. Sorry, folks, I don't normally get upset like this about these kind of things, but man, this is in America in 2019. There is absolutely, this happened in 2015, but still, just three and a half years ago, there is no excuse for this whatsoever. A new case should be opened up against this police officer, and he should be charged. The woman died. A woman died because of his acts, and which were violating her Fourth Amendment right to search and seizure. Folks, if you get pulled over and a cop says, get out of the car, you ask him why. Do you have probable cause? What is your probable cause? You might not want to fight it too much, but look, this situation, she had no reason to get out of her car. A police officer opens your door of your car and tells you to get out. No, I'm afraid not. Call your supervisor. I'm sitting in this car until your supervisor comes out here on the scene. You wait there. It just should have never happened. And again, the violation of Fourth Amendment right to search and seizure. No reason for that cop to open up the door and demand her to get out and scream at her that way and threaten her with a taser. Just absolutely out of control. And I'd like to know and obviously she started the camera after things started to get heated. I'd like to know what was said beforehand. What was going on beforehand? What was the cop saying to her? What was his reasons for her demanding her get out of the car? And now we know, fast forward, they dropped the case of perjury against the cop because he lied, and then dropped the case of perjury for him giving up his license to be a police officer. Not good, guys. Not good. And this is not part and parcel of law enforcement in general. I know a lot of law enforcement personnel, and this is not normal behavior. And I know the media is going to paint it as normal behavior of cops. See, look, the cops are pulling over black people, and, they're arresting them illegally and throwing them in jail, and now they're dying. No. This is a very rare situation. Again, I normally wouldn't be talking about this and be emotionally attached to it, but I couldn't help but to bring this up. And again, trending on social media all day long, Sandra Bland. Because it is an outrage, it is not to fuel racial tensions that were set back 50, 60, 70 years. Thank you, Barack Hussein Obama, for setting back racial relations in America. But the media is going to run with this. They're going to run with this, and they're going to say, see, look, cops are killing black Americans, and this is not so. This is not the case at all. Black Lives Matter terrorist organization. This is their claim to fame. This is what they claim. And so this is what they're going to show you, not showing you what's going down in Chicago on a daily. The homicide rate is through the roof. Hundreds of homicides per year with the likes that we've never seen before. But we're not going to report on those black deaths because that's black on black crime, and we don't want to expose that. So I just get my blood boiling. Sorry, folks. I just had to get that off my chest. I have to get that out in the open. And now we're going to get into some big tech silencing. Overnight, some crazy stuff has been going on the Twitters and the Facebooks. And for those of you commenting the other day, I understand that you believe that because Facebook and Google and Twitter are independent corporations that they can't be, forced to give an open platform. They don't have to give you or allow you to have an open platform on their site. Not true. No. Here's why. The three have now become a monopoly. The three are now open forums, if you will. It's an open place where people can speak freely to each other. But now, if Mark Zuckerberg doesn't like your opinion, he will censor you. He will cut you out. And if you speak about Fight Club, you get kicked out of Fight Club. No, but if you speak about it, InfoWars, if you speak about InfoWars and don't denounce it, then you'll get kicked out. But if you speak about InfoWars and denounce it, then you're okay. See, when you're starting to censor and curb what people are saying and forcing people to cow down to the big tech, to your ideologies, 34-year-old, $70 billion net worth. I'm just telling you, going from not much, or maybe his family wealthy enough to get him into Harvard, Yale, but not billions, and himself personally, going from a college student to a multi-billionaire, and now having the little g God, the God complex, to control anybody and everybody. And again, as I love to go to my go-to website, gatewaypundit.com, thegatewaypundit.com. Don't go to gatewaypundit.com. It's got to be thegatewaypundit.com, as well as Breitbart News, real news, real information. And NBC hack Ben Collins cheers banning of conservatives on social media, then spreads lies and fake news about Lauren Southern. His Twitter account is awash with anti-conservative attacks. He openly cheers the silencing of opposing voices in America today. He mocks their pain. One woman at Molly Jong Fast just tweeted out, Laura Loomer has raised $67,000 on being banned from Instagram. Nice work if you can get that. And she's referring to the fact that now we have big banks. We've got PayPal and Chase Bank, and we've got other outlets that are now banning conservatives from their platform to where that they can pull money out. And this a clip of Tucker Carlson.
Keep in mind that nobody voted for Mark Zuckerberg. He's 34 years old. He's completely cut off from reality. He's worth $72 billion. And yet he can single-handedly make our First Amendment irrelevant after 250 years. Here's the most amazing thing of all. Our media think that's great. Now, journalists are supposed to defend free speech. You would think that was their job since they make a living from it. But when corporate America issues an order, when Mark Zuckerberg says jump, their question is, how high, Mr. Zuckerberg? Listen to them celebrate Mark Zuckerberg and sell you out completely.
Why are they doing this now?
Well, it's a good question as to why they waited this long, but
yes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, so Alex Jones has been banned from Facebook for a long period of time, but now they banned him. They banned his little underling, Paul Joseph Watson.
Now that they kicked them off the platform, that's great for now, but it doesn't roll back the clock.
You have also excesses in the First Amendment and the Second Amendment right now. I don't think that the forefathers said, well, you can say, all sorts of hateful things and spread it around the world, literally spread it through the internet.
I have no issue with it at all. I want them shut down. I want them silenced. I want them muted. I think they are horrible for our society.
I want them shut down. I want them silenced. I want them muted. But don't worry. These people aren't terrifying or anything.
As I sit here and I give you the real news every day, I know for a fact that our personal accounts have been shadow banned, have been blocked on Twitter and on Facebook. There's absolutely nothing we can do about it. There's no recourse. There's no way we can get around it. And as we open up a new account at Smith Television on Twitter, apparently, unbelievably, things are happening. People are now starting to see the show. Now that we have a brand new account that is not shadow banned. I have 22,000 plus followers. My cousin Carrie has 25 plus thousand followers, stuck at that number for years, never to move forward, never to grow. And now I even know folks that are stuck at the 50,000 mark. Some are stuck at the 1,000 mark. They just stuck just because you're putting out real news. If you're tweeting out about from the Gateway Pundit, you're tweeting out from Breitbart News, you're tweeting out from these real outlets with real articles, be careful. You're going to be banned. And this at Sweeps Fox, up to U.S. muster, the militias engage this culture of Marxism. Globalist enemy, I mean, we are at war. Get off your duffs. This was tweeted out a YouTube channel. And this is the fuller link of Tucker Carlson's show. And again, if look in the description below, click the full show notes link. That'll take you to the page on newrightnetwork.com where all our show notes are listed. Sometimes 3 pages of show notes. You can get all the links to the articles, to the videos, and to the tweets, and to the folks to follow on social media if you are a social media person. Definitely follow these individuals. These are the right ones to follow. At Jack suspends Ocasio-Cortez parody account for being misleading. Jack, it says parody account. It says Ocasio-Cortez and big bold letters, parody account. Or at least it did. Not anymore. You've got to suspend that for being too misleading. But then again, they show how it does not violate their terms of service. Apparently, there can be all kinds of parody accounts out there on Trump rump, Trump dump, Trump, all kinds of crazy. But this one, exposing Ocasio-Cortez for who she is, cannot do that on Twitter. Bad. And Jack Posobiec tweeted this out. Breaking. Twitter has suspended MAGAphobia, an account used to track incidents of Trump violence against Trump supporters. Yes, that's correct. There are a handful of accounts out there. This one, obviously a successful one, that notes and shows videos of violence against Trump supporters, things that happen to folks wearing Trump hats on a daily basis. It is real. It is out there. And it's unfortunate that we've got an entire party called the Democrat Party gaslighting their entire base to violently attack the opposition, which is us. And this post up on social media, this has gone viral at Real Tyler Zed, Z-E-D. Follow him for real news. YouTuber, Amazon's best-selling author, American, USAF veteran, and millennial. The lady in this video wearing the MAGA hat can clearly be heard saying, "We from North Korea, sad to see ambassadors these North Korean defectors were greeted by." Please share this since mainstream media won't tell you about this. This stuff you're not going to see on MSNBC because they don't want you to know it. For those of you audio only, there's about 5 North Korean defectors walking through a crosswalk with all wearing MAGA red hats, and 2 black thugs ripping the hats off of their heads and throwing the hats in the air, clearly being thugs. This is not America. It's unfortunate businessman walks the other way and doesn't stop to say a thing. This is not America. This isn't what America is or is about. However, you've got the Democrat Party gaslit their entire base to go ahead and violently go after Trump supporters. Why do they violently go after Trump supporters? Because they cannot have a discussion. They cannot debate in the realm of ideas. They cannot apparently drum up thoughts. I mean, I tell my children, I tell my 4-year-old, about ready to be 5-year-old son, I say, use your words, man. Use your words. Now we're screaming at the Democrats. Use your words, man. Quit hitting people. Big tech. Use your words, Zuckerberg. Stop blocking people. And now this at Breitbart News. ClickGap is Facebook's latest tool to favor establishment media, meaning MSNBC, CBS, ABC, CNN, and to crush the likes of us, Smith Television, SmythTV, and New Right Network, Breitbart News. And part of the articles goes, Facebook received a lot of attention for overt censorship last week, but the social network is engaging in covert suppression of independent media too. Most recently with its introduction of ClickGap, a way of favoring establishment websites and suppressing non-established ones. The ClickGap system will penalize websites that haven't established authority, in air quotes, outside Facebook, where authority, air quotes, is measured by a number of clicks they receive from sources outside the platform, such as mainstream media sources. It's very easily done. It's not hard for Facebook, Zuckerberg. It's not hard for them to dream up new ideas, code it, put it into code, and send it. And all of a sudden, that code can also start to grow and develop and learn new aspects of it if it chooses to do so. And some of these things are getting way out of control. No way to stop them at this point in time. There's no way to stop Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube's from doing what they do and silencing the opposition or voices that differ from theirs. This is the globalist agenda, deep-rooted in big tech, and it's out of control. We do have an American Priorities Conference coming up here the weekend of Columbus down at El Dorado, Trump's El Dorado, down in just outside of Miami, Florida. We will be talking about the Internet Bill of Rights and how we don't need regulations to stop big techs from doing this to us. We don't need new regulations, no more new big government, just the Internet Bill of Rights. Set it up, establish it, and be it, and be done with it. And today, the Washington Times had an article, and Mitch McConnell was the head of the article. As we're shifting gears into Spygate, Mitch McConnell. This at the Washington Times at Wash Times. Update, Mitch McConnell, Democrats angrier at Attorney General Barr than they are at Putin. And the article is, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell declared the Trump-Russia investigation, quote, case closed on Tuesday, but said Democrats are refusing to accept it and playing into Russia's hands. I agree with him 100%. They are absolutely playing into his hands. If you want to know where the collusion was, the collusion of Russian interference in our election had to do with Russia working with the Democrats in order to overthrow a duly elected president. Whether the Democrats knew about this or not, that case needs to be tried and people need to be brought to court. And a great article tweeted out by @MarkLevin Show. The End, a very poor investigation from thefederalist.com. And this at Margaret Cleveland. Major report omission shows Mueller was either incompetent or a political hack. Not once does Robert Mueller mention an investigation into whether Russia interfered with the presidential election by feeding dossier author Christopher Steele misinformation. This is the big takeaway. Folks, think about that. Robert Mueller was trying to find, or the 18 angry Democrats were attempting to find Russian collusion with Donald Trump's campaign. Found none, found no obstruction, however, omitted the fact that Christopher Steele was paid by Fusion GPS, that was paid by Hillary Clinton, that actually got the information from Fusion GPS's founder, Glenn Simpson, and worked with Russia, the Ukraine, and Russia agents and all kinds of Russians. That was all a big lie, submitted this to get the FISA warrant. Mueller omitted all of that, didn't say anything about any of that stuff. That's the outcry, and that's the crime that should be looked at right now when in regards to the Mueller report. You guys are so upset about the Mueller report. There's no there there. Well, there's no, not only there's no there, but Mueller didn't do his job that he should have done. Christopher Steele, never indicted by Mueller. Christopher Steele and FBI leaked stories to Yahoo, Huffington Post, BuzzFeed in order to create their own, to help bolster up their own lie. Creating news stories, leaking information, bolstering up a fake, phony investigation. This is the real crime, and this is the media that should be held accountable. Russia was never investigated and used Steele to meddle in the election through the FBI and media outlets to overthrow the Trump election. And this tweet by our friend Jim Hoff at the Gateway Pundit, Sean Hannity, Democrats are going to be hit so hard with spying scandal, their newsrooms will be shaking.
Why did you disable this presidency to some extent and put the nation through the trauma of the collusion hoax?
Why the biased team of investigators?
Yes, absolutely.
And why do you ignore the dirty dossier?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And, there's so much in his report that he's going to need to justify. Why didn't he look into Hillary Clinton paying for the dossier?
Oh, the New York Times says it might be Russian disinformation.
Yes.
Sarah, last 15. It's all yours.
Look, it's going to be an avalanche of information. The only way for any of this to be rectified is for the Attorney General Barr to have his say, to be able to investigate this and to move on from the Russia conspiracy hoax theory and move on to what really was happening. And that was an investigation, a weaponization of the intelligence community into the president to unseat a duly elected president of the United States.
Notice they're clinging to their lie and their own conspiracy theory, and they have no idea the media and Democrats are going to be hit so hard with that avalanche that literally their newsrooms will be shaking to its foundation, that they're not going to be able to handle it, and the mass psychosis continues. Thank you both.
There is a lot of information coming out. There will be prosecutions. There are already indictments. Bruce Orr's wife, Nellie Orr, referred for an indictment as well. This has to come to play. It has to, and it will. I trust Attorney General Barr. I'm excited about how he's going about this. I'm excited about his decision-making process and how he thinks. What a phenomenal legal mind, one of the great legal minds of our day. And down in the show notes, I put this down there as well. I just started doing a little research, and at the Washington Times, Steele's first defamation trial slated in London. Court this fall was prosecuted in the UK. Folks, Christopher Steele is going on trial again in the UK. He's already been found to have lied. He's already been found to have made up these things. However, it don't matter. America, don't look over here, America. FBI, DOJ, CIA, none of y'all, don't look over here. Attorney General, don't look over here. But yes, as we see that Christopher Steele is going on trial for defamation. Anti-Trump dossier creator Christopher Steele will face a London defamation trial later this year, one of 2 court cases in which he was forced to produce his first and only on-the-record statements on how he investigated and spread Democrat opposition research. A half-dozen liable lawsuits have been filed against Steele and other dossier-related operatives. The one filed in London in 2017 by Russian entrepreneur will be the first to reach trial. Mr. Gubev, a resident of Cyprus, immediately denied the charges that there had been no evidence that he did the intrusion. Christopher Steele claimed that Mr. Gubev hacked into the DNC, and this tech guy, this owner of a tech company, is suing to clear his name. Ironically, Mr. Gubev sued BuzzFeed in Florida for publishing the discredited 35-page dossier, which lists his name, as a criminal hacker. Ironically, the judge threw the case out of court because the judge said the FBI used this information, and since they used this information to go after Trump's campaign, then it's okay for BuzzFeed to go ahead and print the fake, the lie. And we know it was BuzzFeed, the original one, the only one to pick up the fake dossier, and that's why he went after him. The Washington Compost just reported on BuzzFeed reporting on the fake dossier. Thank you, BuzzFeed, for being the garbage outlet that you are. And this is kind of an interesting story on a side note, and it kind of exposes the DOJ and the FBI into what the heck is going on over there. A big story today at A Red Pill Report. FBI wiretap translator arrested for obstructing terror investigation, joined Hamas-tied care group to shut down terrorist screening database. This translator worked for the FBI for a couple of years, 2014, 2015, somewhere around in there. And he worked as a translator to Middle Eastern descent individuals. However, he got caught by investigators because a terrorist called him and left a message on his phone. He apparently, come to find out, he's been working with terrorists, not only as a translator, but also working with them as he is an FBI contractor. How they find these individuals and allow them. What is the FBI screening process? Well, we know that Peter Strzok and Lisa Page and Andrew McCabe and Comey and Weissman, all these guys, they rise to the top. The crooked one rise to the top. The FBI has become a bureau that needs some serious looking at to whether they should even exist anymore. And not only that, but this individual also working with CARE, a known terrorist organization tied to Hamas. And this from thehill.com, Ukrainian embassy confirms DNC contractor solicited Trump dirt in 2016. The Hill interviewing Jim Jordan and Mark Meadows.
So finally, we have some forthcoming reporting that there was an effort by the DNC to work with the Ukrainian government in order to get information on Trump campaign associates. Do you think that rises to the level of attempted collusion on their part?
We'll have to see.
Yeah.
I do know, as Mark just said, you had the Clinton campaign pay the law firm Perkins Coie, who hired Glenn Simpson and Fusion GPS, who went and did what? Hired a foreigner, Christopher Steele, who then talked to some Russians and put together this thing we call the dossier, which was a bunch of garbage. National Enquirer, baloney, salacious, unverified, untrue, but they shopped it all around to the press in this town and all kinds of people running it through to the Justice Department, from Nellie Orr through Bruce Orr and to other people. They did all this, and they got the FBI to bite on it. And the FBI took that document and used it as the basis to get a warrant to go spy on the Trump campaign. Mm-hmm. So If you look at any political campaign who was working with foreigners, it was the Clinton campaign working with foreigner Christopher Steele, who was talking with Russians to put together a fake document.
Yeah, even the question of suppressing some testimony from Ukrainians. So it smells bad, and hopefully we'll get some investigation going into it and figure out what's really there.
Not only did they try and suppress in the Ukraine, as well as Joe Biden and his dirty dealings with the Ukraine, that was also dismissed as well. That's going to come up to bite Joe Biden in the bottom. All that being exposed, all the crooked dealings they're having. Not only that, but the Ukraine told the FBI that we have our officials on audio record, saying that they are going to help Hillary Clinton, and this is how they're going to do it. FBI want nothing to do with that. We don't need that information. Mueller. We don't. Oh man, we don't need that information. It's not for us. Yeah, no, exactly. It is. It should be. All of it is all on the table, and now we've got the DNC insanity. The DNC, all of them, Democrats, now either running for 2020 or actually elected officials. This, thank you. We're glad that Terrence Williams is back out on the Twitter and tweeting out he was in an accident in a neck brace for a while and having to have a lot of surgery, many prayers, and God bless. He's back out with the deplorableshow.com. And Terrence tweeting out this video, helping to make Brian Sims out of Pennsylvania be famous as an elected official. What a shame. State Representative Brian Sims out of Pennsylvania said he will pay his followers $100 if they are able to dox these innocent girls that were praying, not protesting, praying outside of Planned Parenthood. Crazy Democrats. I can't believe our tax dollars take care of him. Who thinks he should step down?
Representative Brian Sims here, and I am outside the Planned Parenthood at southeastern Pennsylvania. Oh, no, they're leaving now. What we've got here is a bunch of protesters, a bunch of pseudo-Christian protesters who've been out here shaming young girls for being here. And so here's the deal. I've got $100 to anybody who will identify any of these three.
So we're
I'm going to donate to Planned
Parenthood.
Parenthood. I'm going to donate to Planned Parenthood. So look, a bunch of white people standing out in front of a Planned Parenthood, shaming people. There's nothing Christian about what you're doing. Nothing Christian at all about what you're doing. Nothing Christian or loving or godly about what you're doing. So I've got $100 to anybody who will identify this. $100. See if you got some friends out here. $100. It'd be easier if you just give me your name and your address.
Rich,
come on.
Rich Boheinski.
Rich, where are you from?
Lansdowne.
Rich, what makes you think that it's your job to tell women what's right for their bodies? And the truth is, I'm not really asking because I don't care. Shame on you. Guys, Planned Parenthood out here faces attacks daily from people like this, from pseudo-Christians saying that they are here to somehow protect their own version of Christianity. So do me a favor. If you've watched this, please consider giving $100 to Planned Parenthood. I'm going to do the same.
It is easier now than ever to get elected to Congress, apparently, to become an elected official. This guy is an absolute nut job. The support for Planned Parenthood to abort babies in the womb, not any type of health care for women. We've already been told by a former doctor that the way to save a woman's life is to actually have the baby. If the woman's life is at stake, then have the baby. My cousin, him and his wife, it was an emergency, middle of the night emergency situation, and she gave birth to her child, I believe, 4 months early. Yeah. Bills ran up to the millions of dollars. Fast forward to this day, 5 years later, she's a healthy, bouncing baby girl, same age as my son. They were born around the same time. The miracles of technology and what hospitals can do nowadays. So, no, have the baby to save the mother. Now we jump over to hashtag Sleepy Joe at Megavolt001. Liberals attack Biden, seeking to blunt his momentum. Is too conservative to be the party's nominee. Are casting Biden as an establishment figure out of touch with the Dem ideology. Need a real leftist socialist to lead the Democrat Party. This at thehill.com. Thehill.com.
Progressives are taking shots at Joe Biden, seeking to blunt the former vice president's rise in polls by arguing he is too conservative to be the party's presidential nominee. The criticism has come from rivals to Biden on the campaign trail, as well as liberal groups seeking to put a dent into his poll numbers. They are casting Biden as an establishment figure out of touch with the grassroots of his party, highlighting his work on a Clinton-era crime bill in the Iraq War, among other issues.
Absolutely. Too establishment, too locked in. Deep ties. They originally ran Joe Biden and said, oh, he's got a lot of connections. No, they're all bad connections. I know my mom was telling me, she said she overheard some ladies, didn't get involved in the conversation, but overheard some ladies say, well, Joe Biden's got connections. And I told her, I said, yeah, the wrong ones. Russian connections, Ukrainian connections, China connections. Yes, Joe Biden is the antithesis of establishment, crony, socialist, big government type guy. And the youth, even the socialist youth, the ones that supported Bernie Sanders, would never support a Joe Biden. So I don't think Joe Biden is going to be an issue. I never thought he was going to be a real contender or an issue that we would ever have to battle. I think the real battle may come with Kamala Harris, if she ever gets traction, but things aren't looking too good so far, but you never know. It might pick up. This as Elizabeth Warren takes to the floor, the Senate floor. This at NBC Politics. See, I watch this stuff so you don't have to. On the Senate floor, Senator Warren calls for impeachment proceedings against Trump.
I'm here to say one more time publicly, this is not a fight I wanted to take on, but this is the fight in front of us now. This is not about politics. This is about the Constitution of the United States of America. We took an oath not to try to protect Donald Trump. We took an oath to protect and serve the Constitution of the United States of America. And the way we do that is we begin impeachment proceedings now against this president. Mr. President, I yield the floor.
Just got one question, Pocahontas. Impeach Donald Trump for what exactly? One thing, for what exactly? She doesn't name it because she can't name for what. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean that you impeach him. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean you get to impeach him. And again, I've got to show our good friend Brandon Struck just absolutely having fun with the left-leaning liberals. And this had our good friends over at the Gateway Pundit. Brandon is in Hollywood, or some call Holly Weird.
Especially after
I was told to tap on your shoulder.
Tap on me.
How are you?
And then walk away?
I'm Brandon Strock, yes. I started the Walkaway campaign.
Oh, love that. So tell us about Walkaway.
Okay, so I started something called the Walkaway Campaign as a former liberal and a former Democrat. It's a social political movement encouraging people to walk away from the Democratic Party. As we know, in Hollywood, this is a very liberal place, a very liberal point of view. So I wanted to come today to represent a different point of view that you don't often get, which is that you don't have to be a Democrat and you do not have to be a liberal. Yeah.
You do you, Bill.
That's right.
I've got to say to that.
Well, listen, this is the entertainment industry. You know, the people, the good people in America who tune in every night to their television sets, they're really only getting one point of view from Hollywood, which is oftentimes they hate the president, they hate conservative values. And so I just want to, encourage people to have an appreciation for a broad spectrum of diversity of thought and opinion. If you want to be a Democrat, but you don't have to be. And a lot of conservatives in Hollywood are feeling like they have to be in the closet. People who support the president feel like they can't have a voice, they'll be blacklisted or ostracized. We're just here to say, listen, there are a lot of diverse political opinions in America, and that we should all be, communicating with each other with love and unity and respect. And let's get rid of all the hatred, right?
Before you get ready to walk off, can we see your shirt? Can you hold your shirt open?
Hashtag walk away. People can go to walkawaycampaign.com to check out the movement. Be a part of it.
I love it.
Yeah, it's all about love. It's all about love. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And Brandon bombing the red carpet. Awesome, buddy. Much, much love. Brandon, good friend of the show. Great guy to hang out with. Former Democrat, former liberal. Saw the light, was truly upset. I told his story. Truly upset when Hillary Clinton lost. He started on social media going back and forth with a friend of his and said, how can you vote for that Trump? He made fun of a reporter. His friend sent him the video of the real exposure of Donald Trump talking about a reporter with a disability. First off, he didn't have this disability. And secondly, that's how Donald Trump just calls people out. It's a thing that he does all the time. So Brandon saw the light, started to do his own research, come full circle, come around. We've talked to him a lot. We hung out with him in D.C. a couple different times. We were at the Walk Away movement with him. And he's coming around. He's coming around. He's making the turn, folks. You help others make the turn. My sister made the turn. It took years and years and years to working with her, and she's come full circle. She's got a little ways to go, but that's okay. She's a teacher in a union. And yeah, it was hard. It was real hard. And she's got to stay in the closet as well about that kind of stuff. As a teacher in the union, she's not allowed to, but she'd get ostracized if she talks about who she voted for. I talked about this before at the school that she's no longer at anymore. It's an inner city school. The kids, after Election Day, when Hillary Clinton lost, the high schoolers threatened my sister as a teacher, threatened her with violence for her to tell them who she voted for. And finally, she just lied about it and said, come on, guys, you know who I voted for. Then lie about it, because that's the era that we live in. How awful to have to lie to students to keep them from beating you up. Again, folks, you're listening to New Right Network, original series, SmythTV. Your host, Brian Smith. Jump over to newrightnetwork.com. Check out the show notes below. All the links in the description below. Smith.tv. Jump over there. Help out with the New Right Media, if you will. That is us giving you the real news, breaking news of the day, wrapping it all up, making sense of it, exposing the real news, and exposing the fake news, and it's showing you the real news. Every day, Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. Crush the share, crush the like, folks. For Tuesday Thoughts, we'll see you tomorrow for Wednesday Wisdom.
You've been listening to New Right Network, mobilizing, countering, energizing. Online at newrightnetwork.com.